Well, you're probably waiting for the show to start. Well, I can understand that. And trust me, you were in the right place. But before we start the show, we got to let you know that today's show is brought to you by a very special and new sponsor to the show. None other than Southern New Hampshire University. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And you know I'm excited about it. Number one, because they're doing a great thing in terms of helping people overcome, some of the experience barriers that are holding people back, right? And we know that that comes up a lot as we progress through this professional world and just adulthood, right? So with SNHU, the beautiful part about them is this. They are designed for people like you and me, man. The ones that are busy, but can make some time to be on the online space and, multitask, so to speak. And that is what SNHU brings to the table. The largest, or one of the largest, accredited nonprofit online degree offerings. Man, it is a dope thing that they got going on over there. One of the programs that stood out to me the most is their sports management program, in terms of being able to, number one, work at your own pace. They have multiple times throughout the year where you're able to get into the course and ultimately progress through at your own speed, 24/7 access. I mean, those are beautiful things, especially when we're just talking about the working person, the busy person, the person with the family out there. SNHU. Oh, they trying to hook you up. They trying to help you out, baby. Now, like I said, for myself, man, I've utilized the online program very similar to this, and I can tell you firsthand the benefits that come from these type of programs and what SNHU is offering, man. You don't want to miss out on it. So check out the link, all right? snhu.edu/Arthur Moats, all right? You check that out. Obviously, this is all in the description as well. But I want you to check that out, man. Look at that sports management program and just see some of the average salaries associated with degrees in this field, man. Could definitely be something that might motivate you, make you want to go out there and do something special out there and, ultimately put yourself on an even better trajectory. But with that being the case, you see right here, SNHU, Southern New Hampshire University. I stand by them. And as always, keep being great. But now I think it's time to get back to the show. So, you already know, don't touch that dial, baby.
Let's go, UW. So with Cam threatening to sit out without an extension, one of the numbers being thrown around is 2 years for $19.5 million per year. I love Cam, but no way.
All right. So we wanted to go Cam first. I was wondering which one was they going to pull up first. We was going to get a Cam comment or was going to get a scheduled comment. So shout out to the Cam comment. All righty then. Righty then. Hit that like button one time for the culture. Don't forget to subscribe as we get into this reaction from Let's Go UW. Cam threatening to sit out. Yep, we did get that report. Said it on his podcast. Shout out to Cam in his podcast as well.
Wait, he said it himself?
Yeah, that's what they. Yeah, it came off his podcast.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Not just football. Not just footballing. Yeah.
He said that.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, I like it. It. Salute. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize it came from his podcast.
Yeah, and that's when then they came out. He also said that basically he was like, I've done everything that I normally would do in terms of coming to OTAs every year, but this year I'm not. And he was like, the biggest reason is because of obviously the contract negotiations, but it doesn't change anything in terms of his preparation. He's still preparing and doing everything the exact same way as if he was going to be there. It's just because of the contract stuff, he's staying away.
What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm back and forth. Obviously, I'm partially biased because Cam is the homie, teammate for 4 years. Love everything that he's done since he's been in this league and everything that he's done since we've been teammates, both on and off the field. We know that, for a while here, he was in that convo of, are you the number 2 D tackle behind Aaron Donald? And I thought that he held it down for a while. We obviously know last year it started to slow down because of the injury, but still like the fact that he was able to come back and still use some valuable snaps. That's the side of me that's like, yo, if we were going to do it, the reason would be because of that type of stuff, because of the the full body of work. And when I'm just thinking of how do I want this to end, with the easiest, chillest, like, let's get everybody on the same page. Man, let's make this be the last year and we go from there. No extension, no big upgrades, but hey, let's make this year work. What do we need to do for both parties to be okay with a number for this year specifically? Not 2 years, 3 years, where we gonna be flirting with dead money, or now we might be regretting how you're aging. It's like, nah, man, let's do it right now, because we know this is pretty much what it is. We got a Keanu Benton. We probably gonna draft another young D tackle next year. So that's the side I look at it for Cam in terms of just that benefit. Now, if I'm Omar on the Steelers, I'm like, bro, you're old. It's like, this is the convo that we had with Trey Polamalu. It's the convo that we had with Ike Taylor. It's the convo that we had with Ben Roethlisberger. It's the convo to an extent that we had with Lawrence Timmons. It's like you get to that stage of you're the old guy. I think it's a stat right now that he's one of the oldest, or if not the oldest, active D lineman right now. That's typically not a stat that you want to have when you belt. I mean, it's great in terms of like, yo, what you've accomplished, but when you're talking about the contracts and going forward, the team, it's just not smart business to commit a ton of finances to him because of the stage that he's in. And he's coming off of, once again, having surgery in season where he missed a substantial amount of time last year.
Yeah.
And we don't call Omar the friendly artist. We don't say Omar's he likes to make it a nice, fair deal for everybody. He likes everybody to be happy. No, we call him the con artist. Because he's trying to take everything he can get. Strong arm robbery. You know how the con man do. This would be, under Khan's tenure so far, this would be the outlier. This would be the one that doesn't follow any of this stuff.
And that would make sense given that it's Cam and history he has here and everything. But you brought up he's old, but not only is he 35, just turned 35.
Yeah. And when I say
May 6th,
old, I'm
happy
specifically
belated
speaking
birthday.
about like the football years. They consider 35, man, anything over 30 for non-quarterbacks, they start looking at you like you're older. Absolutely. And when you get to that 35 mark and you're not a quarterback, yeah, they look at you as old. And that's the fight that he's fighting.
But not only that, but just for this year, the year that's remaining left on his contract, he has a $22 million cap hit, and if we did cut him, it would be only 6 on the dead cap.
See,
so
that's working against him. That's definitely working against him.
So like this whole hardball thing of
It's working.
Cam saying, I'm not going to come to OTAs. I really want an extension. I want to play 3 more years. Like, I don't know if that's the best look or that's the best message to the Steelers organization, because Omar's probably thinking like, dude, honestly, like just this year right now, I think is a blessing from us to you guys.
Yeah, I was going to say, business-wise, it makes sense for them to already make that move. If you're saying that they can save, that's almost what? You said it was 22
That's
and it's 6?
million.
Yeah, 16. That's I mean, you start thinking about what you could do with it.
But it is Cam. I did say that the $22 million cap hit was high. It definitely was for what he gave us last year and everything, and probably what he's projected to give us going forward. Now, could we have one last good run out of him for this 2024 season? I think so. Maybe he could live up something close to that cap hit, and I think the leadership and him being around here and knowing what it means to be a Steeler, I think that only helps with this new group that we have. But yeah, for him to be like, I want some guarantees going forward and 2 additional years. Like, we can have that conversation, but we really got to get that cap hit down then. Like, I don't think we could be living in a world where those 2 extra years in 2025 and 2026 are around 22. Maybe we could be looking at, like, 13 or 14. Yeah. And then depending on what we do still here in this offseason of trading for a receiver, we might have to get the cap hit down for this offseason too.
Very
like,
true.
That's what the extension could help with, but we don't need to do that right now with how the roster is constructed. We still have cap space. We don't have to do this extension to clear up room or anything right now, unless we know we're making the DK Metcalf trade. Yeah. But we don't know that right now. At least we don't from the outside looking in.
I just don't know if I like this approach.
I don't either. With the new squad and everything.
Yeah. And knowing that the team honestly has a ton of leverage because of how much they can save right now. I think that's a lot. I think that's the monkey wrench in this for Cam. If the split between dead money and cap hit wasn't so substantial, this approach typically does work. Man, you don't show up, you start to put a little bit more pressure on the organization. They start to feel like, you know what, we do need you here, and this money, yeah, we can give you some more of this. But right now, they're looking and saying, we got a Keanu Benton in house, we got a Larry Ogunjobi in house, I'm trying to think.
We
have
like
a DeMarvin Leon that we're excited.
Yeah,
we got dudes that are beneath those guys that we're still either high draft picks or we're excited to see can they continue to develop. And then from there, once again, you're asking yourself, could I use this money elsewhere at a better position? Like you talk about a DK. We talk about if you wanted to do something to clear out money. It's like, yo, if you give them another option, maybe they take it. This kind of creates that other alternative option because you always know the convo. We want volunteers, not hostages. We saw how quickly they moved on from Deontay Johnson. We saw how quickly they moved on from Kenny Pickett. And I just look at both of those scenarios, and granted, they don't have the tenure that Cam has had. But in the sense of significant time that they were playing, both of those dudes were starters here. Both of them dudes were, in terms of Deontay, he was a second contract guy getting $18 million. Kenny was a dude that we drafted in the first round. And within From Pitt. Where everything should have been like, yo, he's going to have this long leash. Deontay Johnson, man, you're a consistent player that has played through all these different quarterbacks, different coordinators, and you've still been a constant. You would think that he would even have a little bit of a leash. And with both of them, was like, no, get out of here. We're not tripping. So when I look at Cam, I'm just like, have you seen how this team has been moving lately? I just don't know if, that's the best course of action. But if he also feels like, I don't care, I'll go play somewhere else, then that's a different convo. And
it doesn't seem like he does.
I didn't take it that way, yeah.
He wants to be here. He's like, I want to play 3 more years.
And he says it like he wants to be in Pittsburgh.
You're going to have to give something up, though.
I would agree. Because this approach is the I don't mind going somewhere else and still playing approach, I kind of feel like. Because he doesn't really have a ton of leverage right now.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I think it's
plus
for him.
Here, yeah.
Just running out the rest of this deal on this, $22 million cap hit as is.
Yeah.
Because what was I saying a couple months ago when looking at the possible restructures we could have and whose cap hits were going to be what? The one that jumped out to me the most was Cam's.
Yeah.
You looked at the $22 million of the cap hit and then the $6 million dead cap. It's like, all right, we got to restructure this, do some type of extension, figure this out. But then he said like a month ago that, yeah, I'm not taking any pay cuts.
Right. And that was the part that was like, that was the first line in the sand that he drew. He was like, yo, I'm not taking a pay cut. The next one is, I'm not showing up for OTAs now.
I want an extension.
And I want an extension. We're like, bro, the pay cut was one hurdle that we felt like, yo, that's kind of a big hurdle right there. So then to say that you're not going to do or that you want the extension on top of not taking a pay cut, you're like, yo, this is all right. This is the first strike. All right, it's the second one. It's like, yo, what else is next, man? We get the training camp, and now you're holding out or holding in, and now we have this that we're kind of dealing with as well. Because of it being Cam, though, I think that's his saving grace right now, and I think
and maybe he knows something we don't. Maybe there's conversations happening behind the scenes,
and that's the part for me. I'm like, maybe he knows the temperature of how that is going. And he thinks that, you know what, I can get away with this and this is still going to work and it's not going to backfire.
And I can make headlines on my podcast
yeah,
in the meantime.
Yeah, man. Double dip. Ain't nothing wrong with the double dip, man. Ain't nothing wrong with the double dip. I just hope that it is working out the way that he thinks is going to work out. Because outside of looking in, I'm just like, yo, this is a dangerous move. Unless you don't mind playing elsewhere. If you don't mind playing elsewhere, then yeah, go for it, bro. Because another team would definitely sign Cam. Because Cam could play still. But the issue isn't can he play? The issue is the value of this contract and if you give him an extension versus what you could be bringing in or using that money elsewhere. That's the same comment we have about Najee at the running back room.
Yep. Especially, too, with how this offseason played out and how we've pretty much been able to hit on every one of our needs.
Yeah.
And we don't feel like we're stressing on anything where we have to clear up this cap space right now. It's like, I think our team's kind of set. There's another move or two to be had. And depending on what those moves are, it probably benefits the Steelers more just to see this last year of Cam play out. And then we work next offseason and figure out who to sign going forward. because we got a lot of guys that are out there that we're gonna have to make decisions on. So I don't know if it benefits us to get another whatever the number is gonna be with Cam, another, let's say it is 14-15 million on the books for the next 2 years to an aging defensive lineman. I don't know if that's the approach Steelers want to go business wise.